Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Blood and Plunder here as we work our way through the remaining Spanish forces here, Spanish factions from Raise the Black. Today we have a pretty cool one, and that is an actual powerhouse as well, which is the Guarda Costas. So 1700s, roughly 1730. There is a lot going on for this force and presents just a wonderful playing opportunity. So if you've tried a lot of the other Spanish factions or sub-factions before, you want to learn something new, definitely check this one out. This has a lot in here for you. So let's jump right in. So as you can see, this whole entry really is, this whole page is for the force here and everything that they have going on. So like I said, it's quite a bit to take in. So first of all, 5 special rules for the force, right? That's already abnormal. So again, like I said, lots going on here. A lot of things to contemplate for the list. This force adds +2 to its roll when determining the attacker in the scenario, so not as aggressive as some of the others we've seen out there with the +3s and even that recent +4, but still, it's a bonus and we'll take it, right? So more likely than not, unless somebody's bringing a similar ability, we'll have the edge as far as winning the attacker, if we want that, of course. All core units in the force with the Sailor's special rule, replace it with the Expert Sailor's special rule. So what a wonderful upgrade there. Sailors is already pretty cool, right? So a lot of the units, of course, will have that built in, but they're just basically Expert Sailors for free, right? So just the better version of the rule. And it's always just one of the great things with Blood and Plunder and just the sheer amount of factions, units, characters, special characters, etc. There's all the different variations here. So anytime we can get a blanket special rule across the board and just get that for free, right, without any penalties or costs, fantastic stuff to have. Moving on, all units in this force may reroll if failed throw grapples tests once per turn. Again, just another great thing. We get a free reroll, which means we don't have to spend any other resources for a dice reroll. So again, fantastic stuff there, not paying for it. All units in this force also gain the poorly equipped special rule, though. So there is a downside there, right? So that being said, there's still a lot of cool stuff going on. So this isn't like a deal breaker, right? But it is something to consider when everything in the force, regardless of what we're fielding, has that. One last special rule: all ships in this force move. All ships in this force move 1 inch more when moving with sweeps, right? So again, a whole thing we could contemplate around that, and our list building when we're using sweeps, right? We're going to be a little bit faster. That's always going to be an advantage without, again, taking any other penalties here as far as the ships go. So just something to keep in mind if we're playing on the water and have ships that have those sweeps, well worth taking advantage of. Now let's get into the units, because there's also a lot going on here. We have a smaller selection of core units, but they're still pretty good. But again, everyone's poorly equipped, so just keep that in mind. We do get Marineros, Vizcaínos, Milicianos Reformados, and Corsarios as our core. But we're actually really spoiled for choices in the support units. But again, everything's poorly equipped here. And it is a bit of I wouldn't say a mess here in the support section. There's just a lot going on. So one of these lists, definitely you're going to want to either use the army builder or maybe just start planning this out a little bit, maybe with like the unit cards, just to really get a sense of what you want to accomplish with the list. But let's jump in here. Milicianos Negros, Indios, we get the Zayleiden and the Capers from the Dutch. We have just regular European sailors if we want them, but we can also get English sea dogs, Jamaican privateers, don't see them all that often, Marins from the French, and the later flibustiers as well, but again, everything's poorly equipped. But again, just like one of the other recent forces where we try to combine the French and the Spanish, here we just have a lot of things going on. We have our actual Spanish units, we got some native-like units, the Dutch, the English, and the French also incorporated here. Again, it's just a sort of a multinational coalition of units here. And there's a lot to break down with those, right? So a lot of them are ones that we've had for the longest time, but then also some of the new units in the book here as well. The command options also spoiled for choices here. So we can go standard Spanish commanders. We can get Archibald MacDonald, Don Andres de Ariola y Guzman, or Amaro Pargo Rodriguez Felipe. So and we'll get to him as a character at some point, and his actual custom force here very, very soon. But you got a lot going on here, right? And just, again, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming with just the sheer amount of things we've got. Special rules to incorporate, huge units here. So we have all kinds of different ways we could approach this list, but that will also in part be determined by what commander we take, right? It's going to be a very different force here if we go generic versus what some of the special characters bring, and obviously we got to incorporate their points cost and everything too. But wait, there's more. Out of all the lists so far, I think this probably has some of the biggest amounts of just force options or just things going on in this section here. So this force may replace its command options with any of the following command options. So any standard English, French, Dutch, or unaligned European commander. So already so different than anything else we've seen before. And here's one of the cool things, a little trick we can pull. If any of these command options are chosen, all units lose the poorly equipped special rule, and all Spanish units become support units, and units of the chosen commander's nationality form from the support units list become core. So basically we have an insane amount almost of swapping that we could do, which really will change the list, right? So do we want to make this more of an English themed list, French or Dutch, or just go unaligned? And then that will require various unit swaps here, right? So basically all the Spanish stuff goes into support, and then your nationality's units become core, which can be maybe better or worse, just depending on which nationality you pick and are most comfortable with. But really, what that lets a lot of people do is, depending on the models that you have in your collection, you really can buy into this list partially with your own major nations units that you have, and then really just go from there if you want to do the swap. But also, if you want to dabble a little bit in some of the other units from other nations there, it's not that hard to do then because they're still support, so you'll have fewer of them, but just a lot of different things you can do here with your collection. And there's the fact that then if we do this switch, it's kind of cool, right? Then we can ignore the poorly equipped, which really unlocks another power level for the force here. Finally, yet another one, Spanish Corsairs. So this force removes the poorly equipped special rule from all units. This force may not include Milicianos Reformados, Negros, or Milicianos Indios if we want to go with that option. So at the cost of losing out on those units, we could also remove poorly equipped. So again, yet another variable that we could bring into the list here. So there's just tons going on here. There's really just so many different ways that we could build a force out of this, really too many to cover. But let us know in the comments if you have run the Guarda Costas in this flavor here from Raise the Black, and how did you go about building your list? Do you find it effective with any of these many options here? Let us know in the comments, or have you run up against it as well? Eager to hear battle stories. Again, leave us the comments, like, subscribe, and we'll have more for you soon. Thanks for watching.